A very good afternoon to you all, captains, and welcome aboard. This is your captain, Captain Simwin speaking, and today I'll be taking you on a flight from Munich right up to London Heathrow in the Phoenix A320, which I will be controlling via the use of the Thrustmaster TCA side stick together with the flight's yoke system by Logitech. So I'll just be using the throttle quadrant attached to the flight yoke system. In addition to those, I'll just be using a Beyond ATC for our air traffic control, and I'll be using self-loading cargo to manage our cabin operations, and GSX for the ground services. And just to give you a brief highlight of the flight, this is part of my SimBit World's A Pilot's Life Chapter 2 career progression. I'm currently flying for British Airways, and this is one of the flights that have been allocated to me to fly on my flight schedule. So just as a disclaimer for those who are new to the channel and my videos, and those who are seasoned viewers, kindly just note that this is a simulation, so some procedures may be skipped or overlooked just for the sake of pacing and entertainment. And in addition to that, kindly note that at some points during the flight I will be handing over radio control to the Beyond ATC AI assistant, so that I can focus on flying the aircraft and making our way down from the top of descent. So get ready for this experience with me as we navigate the skies, and let's begin. In beginning, I'd like to first power up the aircraft, so I'm going to turn on battery 1 and battery 2. While they're turning on, I'm going to move on to turn on the external power and then just add some brightness to our upper panel. Then going to move on to turn on our emergency lights, turn on our no smoking lights, and then leave the seatbelt sign turned off for now. I'm going to move on to turn on our window heats and place the nav and logo lights into position number 1, and then move over to our oxygen segment over here, and I'm going to turn on the crew supply, turn on the ground control, and flip our evac switch to the captain position. And I'm going to move to our ADDs, and I'm going to turn on ADD number 1, 2, and 3, and I'm just going to wait for the on-bed signal to extinguish. Alright, and that should be our aircraft powered up for now, and it's just testing systems in the background. Just want to add more brightness to our panels as we are flying in the afternoon, and we just like to see details correctly. Making my way to the EFB, I'm just going to load our flight plan for today. And in loading our flight plan for today, I'm just also going to head to the pilot brief to just have a brief overview of what's expected for today's flight. So like I said, we'll be flying from Munich to Heathrow, and our estimated time of departure or expected time of departure is 13:10 in Zulu. Right, and as you can see from here, the difference between the local time and Zulu time is just 1 hour, so it should be at 14:10 in local time. For our flight today, we have a coast index of 43. We have average winds coming in from 263 at 009 knots, and we have an allocated flight altitude of 36,000 feet. With regards to the fuel, we will be carrying a block fuel of 7.7 tons. And let's just have a look at our times and weights. And in terms of our passengers that we'll be carrying for today, we will be carrying an estimated number of 145 passengers with 2.2 tons of cargo and 13.8 tons within the payload. Right, now that we've just got a brief understanding of our flight for today, I just want to tune into the local ATC and just have a listen to the ATC in order to get an understanding of our weather conditions for today's flight, as well as our expected departing runways that will be allocated to us by ATC. So we're just going to move on to our Navigraph page, and we're going to just locate our start charts and open up the airport chart. And on the airport chart, this should then give us our ATC, which we will just key in a little bit later. Just want to begin the processes of boarding the aircraft, so I'm going to load the aircraft for boarding and fueling to be done by GSX. And then I'm just going to head back to our Navigraph charts.
Please don't load aircraft until
and I'm going to look at our frequency, which is 123.130, and that will be our ATC frequency for today. And I'm going to key that in to our radio stack, 123.130. So what do we have for today? Alright, with that keyed in, just gonna listen out to our ATC, and we can hop outside the aircraft solo while we're listening to the ATC.
Advise on initial contact, you have information, Victor.
Fuel truck is in position.
Munich Airport information, Victor. 1226 Zulu. Wind 245 at 5. Visibility 10 miles or more. Few clouds at 3,500. Temperature 1 tree. Dew point 04. QNH1002. VFR conditions. Landing and departing runways 26 right, 26 left. Transition level 060. Advise on initial contact, you have information, Victor. Munich Airport information, Victor. 1226 Zulu. Wind 245 at 5. Visibility 10 miles or more. Few clouds at 3,500. Temperature 1 tree. Dew point 04. QNH1002. VFR conditions. Landing and departing runways 26 right, 26 left. Transition level 060. Advise on initial contact, you have information, Victor.
Alright, and that's our ATC report for today. And like we've listened out, we've got the allocated departing runways of runway 26 right and runway 26 left. We've got ground temperatures of 13 degrees, and we've got winds coming in from 245 at 05 knots. And just like we've seen from the outside, our ground crew is just currently prepping the aircraft. They're just fueling it, and catering services are also just onboarding the various foods that are going to be offered to our passengers for today's flight. Now, with the ATC report having been provided to us, we can jump back to our EFB and then just go back to our pilot briefing page. And I want us to look at our routing section. So our first waypoint is the give me waypoint, and our last waypoint before we do our approach procedures is the Logan waypoint. So I'm just going to key that in. So it's give me and then Logan. And then in terms of arrival, we have a planned arrival for runway 09 left on the Logan 2 Hector, the Logan 2 Hector Star. In terms of the SID, we have a planned departure on 26 right with the give me 1 November SID, but this will then be confirmed by ATC as we proceed and ask for clearance. Just want to head on to our Navigraph charts and then have a look at our give me charts that have been given to us. And like they said, that today's departure can happen from 26 right or 26 left, so we've got these two SIDs that we need to take account of. So it's the give me 1 November and the give me 6 Sierra. So upon asking for clearance, we might be allocated either of these SIDs for today's departure. Okay, Let's just look at all of our charts, look at the departure charts, and just make sure we're not missing a give me chart here. I think the remaining give me charts are just those that I used for RNAV departures. So yeah, RNAV and RNAV. Okay, so we're fine with that. And then in terms of reading our departure, we've got an initial climb clearance of 7,000 feet, so that's going to be our initial climb, 7,000 feet, and I'm just going to key that in. That should be enough information for the flight. I believe that we can carry on now and request for clearance, and clearance is provided from 121.730. Can just confirm that on our EFB. So we're gonna go to the start, get our ground chart, and we have Munich delivery on 121.730. Awesome. Let us request clearance for today's flight. Munich delivery, good afternoon. This is Speedbird 927 at gate 110 with information Victor, requesting IFR clearance to Heathrow Airport. Just flip that, sorry. It's requested again. Munich delivery, good afternoon. This is Speedbird 927 at gate 110 with information Victor, requesting IFR clearance to Heathrow Airport.
Speedbird 927, Munich delivery. Thanks for information, Victor. Expect runway 26 right. Give me 1 November departure. Give me transition. Initial climb to flight level 070. Squawk 6153.
Cleared to Heathrow Airport. Expect runway 26 right on the give me 1 November departure with the transition at the give me waypoint, and squawk code 6153 and initial climb of 7,000 feet. Speedbird 927.
Boarding passengers boarding starting.
Departure checks completed.
Speedbird 927, read that correct. Contact ground 121.908 when ready for push or start.
Contact ground on 121.980 when ready for pushback and engine start. Speedbird 927. So we're just gonna key in our ground frequency, which is 121.980, just in preparation for pushback and engine start requests once the aircraft has been fully boarded and loaded. Alright, with that information provided, we can proceed to our FMC, head on down to the ETSU menu and go into the AOC menu and then hit received messages, and then just accept the initial load sheet provided
All
by
aircraft be
the
advised,
ground
information
crew.
whiskey now current. QNH1002.
Alright, and then we're going to head to our flight initialization page and we're going to request the data. Alright, and then I'm just going to hit the ETSU menu on the right hand side panel as well, just to duplicate my screens as I'm going to be copying data from across. So we hit the init page, clear the notices, and we can begin to populate our FMC. So we will be departing EDDM for EGLL. right? And then we've got the alternate airport, which is EGCC. So EGCC, and our flight number for today is Speedbird 927. Our allocated cost index is 43, and our planned or allocated cruising altitude is flight level 360. Current ground temperatures 13 degrees. Okay, and this should be enough for our init A page. We can then move on to the flight plan and key in our route. So we'll be departing Munich from runway 26 right on the give me 1 November departure, and we're going to insert that, and then from the give me waypoint we will be using the Airways Yankee 101. Yankee 101, and that will be directing us to the waypoint in bed. And then we can insert that. And then from in bed we'll be heading direct to Rekti. And then from Rekti we'll be heading direct to Law. And then from Law we'll be heading direct to Edcurve. And then from Edcurve we'll be heading direct to Sogri. And then from Sogri we'll be using the Airways Lima 608, and we'll be using that to head to our final waypoint before approach procedures, which is Logan. Then we're going to insert that. Okay, and as per the flight plan, we are planning for a arrival at Heathrow for runway 09 left via the Logan 2 Hector approach, and then we can insert that information inserted. Let's just have a look at our flight path. So just key in our QNH, which is 1002, and then gonna hit constraints, switch to the plan mode, and just have a browse. We are looking for any unplanned discontinuities, which we do not need, and it is correct for us to then have a discontinuity between LAM and our initial fix for the approach.
KLM 97 November, gate 116 taxi via Alpha 9 Mike, November, Charlie 4 Echo 1. Gate 116 via Alpha 9 Mike, November, Charlie 4 Echo 1 KLM 97 November.
This discontinuity will be closed up or removed by selecting a via to our approach. So once we get closer to London Heathrow and we tune into the approach frequency, they will then give us a via route which will connect us from LAM to our initial fix for the final approach. So our flight plan looks good and our path looks good. We can switch all things to normal, and then we can just wait for the aircraft to be boarded. Like I said, our expected time of departure is at 13:10. The time right now is 12:47, so we still have quite a bit of time on our hands before departure. Roughly what, 22 minutes, 23 minutes. We should be departing very early today, depending on how fast the aircraft is boarded and loaded by our ground crews. Just going to key in our initial climb, which is 7,000 feet, and then I'm going to key in our squawk code for today, which is 6153. Just turn it to auto. Right. When we are 10 minutes away from our time of departure, I will then come in to turn on the APU, as it's just my personalized preference.
Lufthansa 7 Charlie Hotel, Ramp Golf 24 taxi via Alpha 9, Alpha 5, Echo, Echo 2, Delta 6, Echo 3, Kilo 1.
Ramp Golf 24 via Alpha 9, Alpha 5, Echo, Echo 2, Delta 6, Echo 3, Kilo 1, Lufthansa 7 Charlie Hotel.
Turkish 41 Tango Alpha, Gate 118 taxi via Alpha 9 Mike, November, Charlie 4, Echo 1.
Gate 118 via Alpha 9 Mike, November, Charlie 4, Echo 1, Turkish 41 Tango Alpha.
Alright, and that's our aircraft fully loaded. What we can then do in the meantime is make our way down to the FMC, head on to the performance page, and on the right hand panel just going to go under the received messages and have a look at the final load sheet and accept that. So before heading even to the performance page, let's start with the init page. We're going to go to init B, and then let's just key in the information. So we've got a zero fuel weight of 57.8, and then we've got a zero fuel weight center of gravity of 29.5, and then we're just going to key that in, and then we've got a fuel in tanks of 7.7 tons. And then as per our flight plan, we have a average wind component of -0.06, so we've got a headwind coming our way. So this will then reduce the extra fuel that we'll have on board as well as the extra time. So let's just key that in, and there we go. That has reduced the extra time and extra fuel that we have. That should be it for the init A and B page. All our data is populated. We can head to the performance page and then make our way to the EFB and go under the performance calculations. So we've been allocated runway 26 right for today's departure. Runway surfaces are dry, and we're just going to sync with the final load sheet, and then we're going to sync with the final weather and just hit calculate. So we've got a V1 of 148, and from there we've got 148, 148 and 149. We can key in these values. See, one up 0.2 and 68. Okay, let's try and key these in. So we have 148, 148 and 149. Transition altitude of 6,000 feet. Flaps 1/0.2 up for the trim, and we've got a flex temperature of 68 degrees. Can just confirm that. Yep, up 0.2 and 68. Okay, noise abatement 2950, 2950, 2950. Okay, that is awesome. Can key now V2 speed over here, and seeing that we are done, we can then proceed to turn on our seatbelt sign and power up the APU. So I'm going to turn
Lufthansa for
on the
November
center
Echo,
tank,
gate 250, taxi via Alpha 9, Alpha 5, Echo, Echo 2.
turn on the master switch and wait for a little bit, and then I'm going to
Gate
hit the
250
start
via
button.
Alpha 9, Alpha 5, Echo, Echo 2, Lufthansa for November Echo.
And then we can just jump outside to listen to the APU start up. The APU startup has just got to be one of my most favorite sounds. It never gets old for me. So we're going to proceed, and then we're going to turn on all our fuel pumps make our way down, turn on the APU bleed so that we can get the air conditioning running. Our pack light should extinguish now that we've got air supplied from the APU. That's right. Then we can disconnect from our external power, and that is correct. Our aircraft is in a position to leave. I'm just going to flip our TCAS to the TARA mode, and we're preparing for push and start, so I'm going to turn on the ignition switch, and then from there I'm just going to turn on our beacon light, and that should signal to the ground crew that we are ready for pushback and engine start. Alright, I'm just going to request pushback and engine start from ATC. I am assuming that we will be turning our nose to the left for today's pushback procedures. Okay. Munich ground, good afternoon. This is Speedbird 927 at gate 110. Request pushback and engine start.
Speedbird 927, Munich ground, pushback and engine start approved. Face northwest.
Pushback and engine start approved. Face northwest. Speedbird 927. So we are currently facing the east by the looks of our degrees over here, so northwest would be a nose to the left as we are making our way north. So let's just key that into GSX, continue our pushback, nose to the left,
Release parking brakes, please.
run all our clocks and release our parking brakes.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
We're just gonna wait to cross the white line before we're going to start the engines. So we can head on outside and watch our wing walkers. Alright, we have crossed our white line. We can start up our engines. So we are going to start with engine number 2. Then let's just hop outside to listen to it start up. We'll just head back and then start engine 1 and then just give that a listen as well.
Please set parking brakes.
The rumble of these engines is just incredible. I enjoy that so much. So we're just going to set our parking brake.
Waiting your
The
confirmation for a
veil
good
has
engine
been
start.
indicated, so we can confirm that we have a good
Cockpit to
engine
ground.
start.
We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
With a good engine start, apologies, we can then proceed to turn off our APU bleed and turn off the APU master, and then go to our performance page. We've got flaps 1 allocated, so let's just extend the flaps.
Unlocking gear.
And then we can proceed to set our trim, which is 0.2 up.
Tow truck
So
disconnected.
pitch trim is
Bypass
set to
pins removed.
0.2 up. That's correct.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
Alright, we can proceed to then ask for taxi instructions from ATC. Munich ground, this is Speedbird 927. Request taxi to the active.
Speedbird 927, runway 26 right, taxi via Echo 1, hash, Whiskey 1, November, Alpha 13, Mike, Alpha 14.
Taxi to runway 26 right via Echo 1, hash, Whiskey 1, November, Alpha 13, Mike, Alpha 14. Speedbird 927. With the ground crews having cleared our aircraft, as you can see, walking away, just gonna turn on our taxi light.
Negative, taxi via Echo 1, hash, Whiskey 1, November, Alpha 13, Mike, Alpha 14.
Alright, and then with regards to the ATC and the taxi instruction, I'm just gonna let Beyond ATC read it back, seeing that it's not picking up something from my voice.
Runway 26 right, taxi via Echo 1, hashtag, Whiskey 1, November, Alpha 13, Mike, Alpha 14, Speedbird 927.
Release the parking brake, then make our taxi, add a bit of throttle. So incredible to see so much traffic here. All this traffic is being pumped through by Beyond ATC, and in our pushback we just managed to see an A330, an Emirates A330. Really nice aircraft. Slow down a bit for this turn. Turn on to Whiskey 1. Just keep the aircraft on the center line. Slow down just a little bit.
All aircraft be advised, information X-ray now current, QNH1002.
All stations, we're about to start boarding.
Traffic.
It's quite a long taxi to our allocated runway, but we should be there shortly and we might catch one airplane coming in for landing. Like we can see with the lights over there, somebody's coming in for their landing.
Lufthansa 5 Alpha Charlie, gate 219 Alpha taxi via Alpha 9 Whiskey, Whiskey 2, Delta 1, Charlie 2, Delta 2.
Gate 219er Alpha via Alpha 9er, Whiskey, Whiskey 2, Delta 1, Charlie 2, Delta 2, Lufthansa 5 Alpha Charlie.
Landing by Lufthansa. There we go. And the A320.
Lufthansa 8 Alpha Hotel, Gate 217 Bravo taxi via Alpha 9 Whiskey, Whiskey 2, Delta 1, Charlie 2, Delta 2.
Gate 217 Bravo via Alpha 9 Whiskey, Whiskey 2, Delta 1, Charlie 2, Delta 2, Lufthansa 8 Alpha Hotel.
Speedbird 927, contact Munich Tower 118.705. Have a good day.
Contact Munich Tower on 118.705. Bye bye. Alright, we should contact Tower on 118.705. Key that in, and then we're just going to turn on our predictive wind shear, the weather on one side, terrain, the landing lights, runway turn lights, turn on the strobe lights, TARA, and then run the takeoff configuration test, and it's giving us normal, so we are good to go. Just going to request for departure from ATC. Munich Tower, good afternoon. This is Speedbird 927, holding short, runway 26 right, ready for departure.
Speedbird 927, Munich Tower, wind 265 at 6, runway 26 right, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 26 right, Speedbird 927. Right, that's our takeoff clearance. Release the park and brake, and let's make our way down to the runway. It's a bit of throttle. Right, and we are aligned with the runway. Let's proceed. Going to add some throttle. System stable. Continue to push for flex. Main flex, blue. Keep her on the center line. Rotate. Gear up. Can turn on the autopilot, seeing that we've got a straight out departure.
Speedbird 927. Contact Munich radar 123.905.
Contact Munich radar on 123.905. Speedbird 927. Right, so it's 123.905. Okay, okay. 123.905. Munich radar, good afternoon. This is Speedbird 927, flying through 4,800 feet for 7,000 feet on the Give Me 1 November departure.
Speedbird 927, Munich radar, good day. Identified, climb to flight level 180.
Climb to flight level 180, Speedbird 927. So 180, key that in, and then we've passed our transition altitude, so we can switch to the standard pressure. So now we're just going to watch out for our 10,000 feet marker and then proceed to switch off our landing lights. You can turn off the gear lights. Let's have a look outside. A lot of turbulence in this flight. As you can see, the plane is being thrown from left and right, but Germany looks really beautiful. All this agricultural land we see over here. Okay, let's watch out for our 10,000 feet marker and then we'll proceed to turn off our lights. Alright, and we've got 10,000 feet, so we can turn off our landing lights. Right, let's enjoy the rest of the climb to 18,000 feet from outside the aircraft, and we will come back inside when we have to readjust our altitude. Okay, it's almost going to be time to adjust our altitude. We're just going to wait for ATC to direct us.
Speedbird 927. Contact Munich radar 120.65. Bye-bye.
Contact Munich radar on 120.65. Speedbird 927. Goodbye. Munich radar, good day. This is Speedbird 927, flying through 6,900 feet, climbing to 18,000 feet on the Give Me 1 November departure.
Speedbird 927, Munich radar. Identified. Climb to flight level 360.
Climb to flight level 360, Speedbird 927. Right, we have been cleared to our cruising altitude. So as we are beginning the climb, this is where I am now going to leave the flight on autopilot, as well as the radio controls. Leave them at the hands of the Beyond ATC AI assistant. I will be rejoining you as we approach top of descent and as we make our way down to London Heathrow.
Iberia 31 Delta Romeo. Descend to flight level 170.
Enjoy the climb and enjoy the cruise.
Descend to flight level 170, Iberia 31 Delta Romeo.
Sun Express 8 Victor Whiskey. Contact Vienna Center 124.4.
Center on 124.4, Sun Express 8 Victor Whiskey. Munich radar, Ethiopian 3015 heavy. Good day, flight level 310.
Ethiopian 3015 heavy. Munich radar. Identified. Ryanair 3 Lima Romeo. Contact Vienna Center 124.4. Contact Vienna Center 124.4. Ryanair 3 Lima Romeo. Bye-bye.
Munich radar, Smart Link 7 November Romeo, flight level 340.
Smart Link 7 November Romeo, Munich radar, radar contact. Sunturk 18 Delta Uniform, contact Vienna Center 124.4. Contact Vienna Center 124.4 is Sunturk 18 Delta Uniform, have a good day. Griffin 65 Tango. Contact lounge and radar 127.6. Bye-bye. Contact lounge and radar 127.6. Griffin 65 Tango. Alpine 38 Delta Alpha. Descend to flight level 130.
Descend to flight level 130, Alpine 38 Delta Alpha.
Smart Link 7 Quebec Tango. Contact lounge and radar 127.6. Bye-bye. Contact lounge and radar 127.6. Smart Link 7 Quebec Tango. Have a good day.
Munich Radar, Turkish 9 Papa Delta, flight level 302.
Turkish 9 Papa Delta, Munich radar, radar contact. Continue climb to flight level 370.
Continue climb to flight level 370, Turkish 9 Papa Delta.
Munich radar, Sun Express 2 Romeo Mike, flight level 2905. Sun Express 2 Romeo Mike, Munich radar, radar contact. Southern Cargo 2531 Heavy, contact London radar 127.6. Center 127.6, Southern Cargo 2531 Heavy. KLM 77 Golf, contact Vienna Center 124.4, bye-bye.
Center on 124.4, KLM 77 Golf. Bye-bye.
Speedbird 927, contact London radar 127.6.
Contact Langen Radar 127.6, Speedbird 927. Langen Radar, Speedbird 927, through flight level 289er for flight level 360 direct recti.
Speedbird 927, Langen radar identified. Balkan Holidays for 38. Contact Prague Center 118.375.
Center on 118.375, Balkan Holidays for 38.
Soon Express 9 Foxtrot Lima, radar vectors, ILS runway 27. Report ready for descent. Radar vectors, ILS runway 27, ready for descent. Soon Express 9 Foxtrot Lima. Soon Express 9 Foxtrot Lima, fly present heading, descend to flight level 150, Saarbrücken landing runway 27. Flight present heading, descend to flight level 150, Saarbrücken landing runway 27, Sun Express 9 Foxtrot Lima. London radar, Spinnaker 675, descending via Debbie 1 Alpha, flight level 133. Contract for 68, descend to flight level 170. Descend to flight level 170, contract for 68. Spinnaker 675, Langen radar, radar contact. 120.65.
Contact Munich radar 120.65 Turkish 5 Yankee Bravo.
Spinnaker 675, contact Langen radar approach 136.13. Contact Langen radar approach 136.13, Spinnaker 675. Soon Express 9 Foxtrot Lima, fly present heading, descend to flight level 070, vectors for the approach. Expect further clearance in about 26 miles. Flight present heading, descend to flight level 070, Sun Express 9 Foxtrot Lima. Emirates 991 for heavy, contact Prague Center 118.375. Contact Prague Center 118.375, Emirates 991 for heavy.
Langen radar, Black Pearl 69 Kilo. Good day, flight level 310.
Black Pearl 69 Kilo, Langen radar, identified. Soon Express 1 Tango Papa, contact Munich radar 120.65.
Contact Munich radar 120.65, Sun Express 1 Tango Papa. London radar, Smart Link 9 Charlie Foxtrot, flight level 350.
Smart Lynx 9 Charlie Foxtrot, Langen radar, identified. Soon Express 9 Foxtrot Lima, contact Langen radar approach 129.675. Contact Langen radar approach 129.675, Sun Express 9 Foxtrot Lima. Langen radar, Eurowings 28 Golf Bravo. Good day, flight level 280. Black Pearl 3 Kilo Romeo, Langen radar, expect Domux 1 Alpha, runway 23 left.
Expect Domux 1 Alpha, runway 23 left, Black Pearl 3 Kilo Romeo.
Eurowings 28 Golf Bravo, Langen radar, identified.
London radar, Eurowings 2 Mike Mike, flight level 349er.
Eurowings 2 Mike Mike, Langen radar, radar contact.
Langen radar, Alpine 45 Zulu Kilo. Good day, flight level 379er.
Alpine for 5 Zulu Kilo, Langen radar, radar contact.
London radar, Santa 1692, flight level 350.
Suntrip 1692, Langen radar, radar contact. Eurowings 28 Golf Bravo, Langen radar, expect Jebno 1 Whiskey, runway 25. Expect Jebno 1 Whiskey, runway 25, Eurowings 28 Golf Bravo. Air Crete 6 Echo Victor, contact Munich radar 120.65. Have a good day.
Center on 120.65, creep 6 Echo Victor. Have a good day. Lantern radar with our 7106, flight level 359er.
With Air 7106, Langen radar identified. Eurowings 32 Papa, Langen radar, expect Domux 1 Alpha, runway 23 left.
Expect Domux 1 Alpha, runway 23 left, Eurowings 32 Papa.
Lantern radar KLM97 Sierra. Good day. Flight level 392.
Black Pearl 3 Kilo Romeo, descent to 3,000 feet, QNH100 tree.
Descent to 3,000 feet, QNH100 tree. Black Pearl 3 Kilo Romeo.
Black Pearl 69 Kilo, Langen radar, expect Rilax 2 Alpha, runway 14.
Expect Rilax 2 Alpha, runway 14, Black Pearl 69 Kilo.
KLM97 Sierra, Langen radar, identified. Alpine 61 Charlie Romeo, contact Langen radar 118.75. Center on 118.75, Alpine 61 Charlie Romeo. Lantern radar, KLM 1602, flight level 339er. KLM 1602, Langen radar, radar contact. Eurowings 50 Whiskey Romeo, contact Bremen radar 125.1. Have a good day.
Center on 125.1, Eurowings 50 Whiskey Romeo.
Eurowings 28 Golf Bravo, Gemna 1 Whiskey, runway 25. Report ready for descent. Gemna 1 Whiskey, runway 25, ready for descent. Eurowings 28 Golf Bravo. Eurowings 28 Golf Bravo, descent to flight level 130. Descent to flight level 130, Eurowings 28 Golf Bravo. Eurowings 2 Mike Mike, Langen radar, expect Gemna 1 Whiskey, runway 25.
Expect Gemna 1 Whiskey. Runway 25. Eurowings 2 Mike Mike.
Eurowings 32 Papa, descent to 3,000 feet, QNH100 tree.
Descend to 3,000 feet, QNH100 tree, Eurowings 32 Papa.
KLM 1602, Malta for 567, flight level 360. With Malta for 567, Langen radar, radar contact. With Air 7106, Langen radar, expect Batty 5 Alpha, runway 06.
Expect Batty 5 Alpha, runway 06 Wizza 7106.
Langen radar, Magic Sun 51 Mike Papa, flight level 360. KLM 1602, descend to flight level 25. Descend to flight level 250, KLM 1602.
Langen radar, KLM 1768, flight level 185.
KLM 1768, Langen radar.
Langen radar, Speedbird 927, flight level 360.
KLM 1768, Langen radar, radar contact. Smart Link 7 Quebec Tango, descend to flight level descend to flight level 220. Smart Link 7 Quebec Tango.
Lantern radar, Speedbird 859 Papa, flight level 360. Amsterdam radar, Transavia 13 Mike, flight level 421. Transavia 13 Mike, Amsterdam radar identified. Continue descent to flight level 390. Continue descent to flight level 390, Transavia 13 Mike.
Amsterdam radar, Speedbird 927, flight level 360.
Speedbird 927, Amsterdam radar, expect Logan 2 Hotel, runway 09 left.
Expect Logan 2 Hotel, runway 09 left, Speedbird 927.
Alright, captains, and I'm back in the seat. So
Eurowings 12 Hotel.
we have been given a descent clearance. We are to expect runway 09 left, and we are to use the Logan 2 Hotel star. So we're just going to have a look at our FMC, go to the flight plan just to remind ourselves. So it is the Logan 2 Hotel star, and we did plan 409 left, so we are still good. Let's just see how far we are from the arrival airport, and then we're just going to key in.
Logan 2 Hotel, runway 09 left. Report ready for descent.
Going to key in our arrival ATC frequency, and we are currently
Speedbird 927, Logan 2 Hotel, runway
17
09
nautical
left.
miles.
Report ready for descent.
So we'll just report ready for descent and start our descent procedure.
Logan 2 Hotel, runway 09 left, ready for descent, Speedbird 927.
Speedbird 927, descent to flight level 250.
Descend to flight level 250, Speedbird 927.
Eurowings 12
Alright,
Hotel.
just a quick
Contact
look
London
at our
Control
charts.
118.75.
Gonna zoom in a bit. Quick look at our charts.
Center on 118.475.
We
Eurowings
want
12
the
Hotel.
arrival
Have a good day.
airport ground chart so that we can get the ATC frequency.
Amsterdam radar, Speedbird 983, descending via Logan 2 Hotel, flight level 378.
Got ATC on 121935.
Speedbird 983, Amsterdam radar identified.
Just going to key that in. 121935.
Speedbird 983, descent to flight level 250. Descend to flight level 250, Speedbird 983.
We'll listen in on the ATC once we within the 100
Transavia 13 Mike,
mark.
contact Brussels Control
Or
125.0.
radio.
Center on 125.0, Transavia 13 Mike.
Amsterdam radar, tow line 2708 heavy, flight level 410.
Tow line 2708 heavy, Amsterdam radar identified.
Alright, let's attempt to listen in
Amsterdam
on
radar,
our
with go 49 Kilo November. Good day, flight level 370.
ATC.
With go for 9 Kilo November, Amsterdam radar, radar contact.
Amsterdam radar, Vueling 19 Lima November, flight level 370.
Viewing 19 Lima November, Amsterdam radar identified. Viewing 19 Lima November, contact Brussels Control 125.0, bye-bye.
Contact Brussels Control 125.0 of Vueling 19 Lima November.
Good day, Amsterdam radar, KLM 86 Echo, descending via Redford 1 Alpha, flight level 072. KLM 86 Echo, Amsterdam radar, radar contact.
Let's deploy some speed brakes.
KLM 86 Echo, contact ATC operational information approach 131.355. Contact ATC operational information approach 131.355, KLM 86 Echo. Speedbird 927, contact London Control 118.475.
Center on 118.475. Speedbird 927. Have a good day. London Control, Speedbird 927. Descending via Logan 2 Hotel, flight level 286.
Speedbird 927, London Control, radar contact. Easy 49 X-ray Lima, contact Brussels Control 125, landing runway 09 left. Departing runway 09 right. Center on 125. Transition level 070. X-ray Lima. 5G notice in effect. Advise on initial contact. You have information whiskey.
London Control, SAP 621, flight level 076.
Heathrow Airport information whiskey. 1411 Zulu. Wind 010 61. London Control. Visibility radar contact 0 miles. Continue climb to flight level 3,900 broken. Temperature 08.
Continue climb to flight level
350,
SAP 621.
QNH1007. Rain. VFR condition. EZ23 Romeo Papa. Landing runway contact 09 126.4. Departing runway 09 right. Transition level 070. 5G notice in
Control
effect.
126.75.
Advise on initial contact. You have information whiskey. Heathrow Airport information 927. Descend to flight level 160.
Descend to flight level 160. Speedbird 927.
Easy 56 X-ray Tango. Contact Amsterdam radar 119.175.
Contact Amsterdam, radar 119.175, easy 56 X-ray Tango.
KLM 1052, London Control. Expect red for 1 Alpha, runway 36 center.
Expect red for 1 Alpha, runway 36 center, KLM 1052.
London Control, Ryanair for Hotel Charlie. Descending via Avant 1 Lima, flight level 190. Ryanair for Hotel Charlie, London Control, radar contact.
London Control, Ryanair 3 Alpha November, flight level 086.
Ryanair 3 Alpha November, London Control, good day. Identified. Continue climb to flight level 340.
Continue climb to flight level 340, Ryanair 3 Alpha November.
London Control, Alpine 37 Alpha November, flight level 091. Alpine 37 Alpha November, London Control, identified. Continue climb to flight level 390. Continue climb to flight level 390, Alpine 37 Alpha November. London Control, Flyer 68 Delta, descending via Neville 1 Charlie, flight level 144. Flyer 68 Delta, London Control, identified.
London Control, broadsword 99 Tango, descending via Zurich 1 Lima, flight level 180.
Broadsword 99 Tango, London Control, radar contact. Speedbird 927, descend to 7,000 feet, QNH1007.
Descend to 7,000 feet, QN H1007, Speedbird 927.
London Control, Easy 52 Quebec Zulu, good day, flight level 290.
Ryanair for Hotel Charlie, contact Stansted approach 136.2. Contact Stansted approach 136.2, Ryanair for Hotel Charlie. Flyer 68 Delta, contact Thames approach 133.455.
Alright, we are just going to be on the lookout for our 10,000 feet marker so that we can turn on our landing lights. Let's just add some speed brake as we need to slow down.
Easy 52 Quebec Zulu, London Control, identified. KLM 1052, red for 1 Alpha, runway 36 center. Report ready for descent.
Red for 1 Alpha, runway 36 center, ready for descent, KLM 1052.
The radio's pretty busy. I'm not even getting a chance to listen to the arrival vectors, but it might clash, but let's try and listen to it.
900 broken. Temperature 08.
Descent to flight level 290, KLM 1052.
QNH1007. Rain. VFR conditions. Speed landing runway 09 contact Heathrow director 11 runway 09 right. Transition level 070.
5G
notice in
Director
effect.
119.7.
Advise on initial contact. You have information whiskey.
Heathrow Director.
Heathrow
Speedbird
Airport
927.
information whiskey.
Flight level 108.
1411 Zulu. Wind 010 at 8. Visibility 10 miles.
Speedbird 927 Heathrow Director.
Speeding 3,000.
QNH 1007, expect the ILS runway 09 left with the Lambo in
Dew
transition.
point -01. QNH 1007.
H1007.
Rain.
Expect the ILS
VFR
runway
conditions.
09 left with the Lambo in
Landing
transition.
runway
Speedbird
09
927.
left.
Alright, we have the Lamborn.
Speedbird 927, cleared direct Lamborn. Cross Lamborn at or above 7,000 feet.
Approach.
Cleared ILS runway 09 left.
So we're just going to go there, and then go via, and then look
Cleared
for
direct
land.
Lamborn. Cross Lamborn at or
And
above 7,000
insert
feet.
it.
Cleared ILS runway 09 or left. Speedbird
select.
927.
And then continue to insert, clear, and then we can back. We're below 10,000, switch on our landing lights. Just engage our speed brake a little bit. Listen to the ATC again. So this is the flow with Beyond ATC. You are not able to
3,900
switch off
broken.
one radio while listening to
Iberia
the other.
01 Whiskey Foxtrot. Contact Heathrow Tower 118 at 505.
QNH 1007. Rain.
Contact
VFR
Tower
condition.
118.505 Iberia 31 Whiskey Foxtrot.
Alright, let's just key in our arrival data. So we've got a QNH of 1007, temperature of 8 degrees. The wind was coming in from 010 at 08. Transition level is 7,000, so we're going to go flight level 070. And then we're going to have a look at our approach chart. 09 left, the ILS chart. I want to find our minimums, so our minimums are 279. It's Q ready. Alright. So like I said, our discontinuity is going to be taken care of. It's taken care of by the via, so we're going via LAM, so we're going to turn and then face 09 left, so no more discontinuities. Just pulling the speed brake. And they did say that we have rain today in our arrival, so let's look at the weight currently. 62.1. Let's go to our arrival calculations, so our landing. So 09 left. Let's say we have good to medium. Apply the meta, and I think it's 62.1. Low brake, it's giving us that. So we look at the medium brake. Yeah, we'll go with the medium brake. As we are setting up medium brakes.
Eurowings 12 Hotel. Contact Heathrow Tower 118.505.
Over to Tower 118.505, Eurowings 12 Hotel. Have a good day.
It's very, very cloudy. We're directly in the storm right now. Not too sure about the rain, but the visibility seems to be poor. Yep, very cloudy, no rain yet.
All aircraft be advised information X-ray now current. QNH 1007.
We can now activate our flaps, so we'll go for flaps 1.
Heathrow Director, Speedbird 15 Charlie. Good day, flight level 114 with information X-ray.
Speedbird 15 Charlie Heathrow Director, QNH 1007 expect the ILS runway 09 left with the Occam transition.
QNH 1007 expect the ILS runway 09 left with the Occam transition. Speedbird 15 Charlie.
Etihad 69 Whiskey Super. Contact Heathrow Tower 118.505.
Over to Tower 118.505 Etihad 69 Whiskey Super.
Eurowing 7 Echo. Contact Heathrow Tower 118.505.
Contact Tower 118.505, Eurowing 7 Echo. Have a good day.
Speedbird 15 Charlie, cleared direct Occam. Cross Occam at or above 7,000 feet. Cleared ILS runway 09 left.
Cleared direct Occam. Cross Occam at or above 7,000 feet. Cleared ILS runway 09 left. Speedbird 15 Charlie.
Speedbird
Okay,
927.
we can drop
Contact
our
Heathrow
landing
Tower
gear.
118.505.
Let's head on outside quickly.
Over to Tower 118.505. Speedbird 927.
Yep, the conditions look pretty good. Got nice visibility, just flying
Heathrow
under the
Tower,
clouds.
Speedbird
Should be a
927.
good landing.
ILS runway 09 left.
Slight bit of a crab to compensate for the wind. It's going to be a bit challenging, and we've got a busy
Speedbird
runway.
927, Heathrow
As you
Tower.
can see, I've got two planes landing right ahead of me. But the scenery looks
Roger,
great.
Speedbird 927.
Wow, this is amazing. Let's focus on it and get the bird down to the runway. 7.5 miles out. Can activate the approach phase. And then just get full flaps.
Heathrow Tower, Speedbird 397, ILS runway 09 left.
Speedbird 397, Heathrow Tower. Continue.
The scenery
Wilco,
looks amazing.
Speedbird 397.
Looks pretty good. Then we can turn on our
Etihad 69 Whiskey Super. Go around.
cabin.
Fly
Is
runway
ready.
center line. Maintain 2,500 feet.
Going round. Fly runway center line. Maintain 2,500 feet. Etihad 69 Whiskey Super.
It looks amazing. It
Etihad
looks
69 Whiskey
amazing,
Super.
guys.
Contact
It
Heathrow
looks
Director
amazing.
119.73.
Contact Heathrow Director 119.
We should be disconnecting the autopilot once we are 1,000 feet above ground. It should be
Eurowing 7
manual from
Echo.
there.
Exit right at Alpha 4.
Exit right at Alpha for Eurowing 7 Echo.
Right.
1,000.
Speedbird 927. Wind 010 at Niner. Runway 09er left cleared to land.
Runway 09er left, cleared to land. Speedbird 927.
Keep it on the center.
$500. $400. $300.
Disconnect the auto throttle. Decrease the
100
throttle.
above. $200. Minimum.
Let's see.
100. 50. 40.
Come on.
30. 20. Retard. Retard.
Too much
Sorry.
overfloat. Let's get her down.
Speedbird 927. Exit right at Alpha 4.
Exit right at Alpha 4.
Exit
Speedbird
right.
927.
Got some traffic, so gotta hurry up. Turn on our APU. Oops. Okay.
Speedbird 927. Contact ground 121.905.
It's gonna
Ground
hold here.
121.905. Speedbird
Oh.
927. Have a good day.
Lights. Turn these to taxi. If you want to turn off our strobe light.
Speedbird 927. Request taxi to allocated gate.
Gate 561. We've been allocated gate
Speedbird
561.
927, Gate 561 taxi via Alpha 8, Lima 12, Bravo, Delta.
Gate 561 via Alpha 8. Lima 12, Bravo, Delta. Speedbird 927.
So we're just going to taxi to our gate. Welcome to Heathrow, ladies and gentlemen. Bit of a shady landing, I must say, because of the wind conditions, and a bit of a massive float before touchdown, but we managed to stop in time as we had enough runway to utilize, so we didn't really have to go around. Ground traffic always seems to be colliding with us. This needs to stop.
Turkish 7 Delta Mike Heavy, gate 239er taxi via Hotel, Bravo, Lima, Kilo.
Right, turn off the taxi light.
Gate 239er via Hotel, Bravo, Lima, Kilo, Turkish 7 Delta Mike Heavy.
Bring it in nice and slow. Can start turning in. Nicely on the center, slow down. Delayed brakes.
Speedbird 15 Charlie, gate 523 taxi via Hotel, Bravo, Alpha, Yankee.
Alright. Welcome to
Gate
Heathrow.
523 via Hotel, Bravo,
Captains
Alpha, Yankee.
and
Speedbird
our
15
ladies
Charlie.
and gentlemen. Just going to turn off the seatbelt signs, leave the no smoking light, and then going to proceed to turn on or turn off the beacon light. Now deboarding should be requested. Connect to the external power. and proceed to turn off our fuel pumps. Alright, welcome to London Heathrow, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look at our pilot's briefing summary. We were expected to arrive at 15:15 and we actually arrived at 14:57, nice and early. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I trust that you enjoyed being on this flight with me. Given the tricky landing conditions with the wind and just aligning with the runway, I trust that you guys enjoyed the flight, and we will be getting one flight at a time. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode, and see you on the next one.